Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you guys saw, but the neocons are very mad about what Trump is doing in the Middle East and how he is trying to basically put it all together so we can finally find peace and also bring investments back into the United States of America. The neocons, they're not happy. And today, Donald Trump called out the neocons. But Mark Levin, who has been a friend to Donald Trump, is now losing his mind. Ben Shapiro is now losing his mind. They're all losing their minds. And I remember that people called me crazy and they said that I needed to read the Bible more. And they came at me when I said that this is all because Israel and Israel's lobby is not letting American presidents negotiate outside of Israel. They must go through Israel in order to talk to anyone in the Middle East. But that has changed. There was the last living American hostage that was captured by Hamas was released by Hamas because Trump decided to keep Israel out of it and talk to Hamas directly. This is not making neocons very happy. In fact, I'll show you exactly what just happened. Mark Levin, who is a Jewish man whose loyalty is only to Israel, and we can tell by the way he's reacting to most of what Trump is doing, just like Ben Shapiro. And again, I told you guys that the Israel, the Israel American Affairs Lobby, which is APAC, is a very real thing, right? But we'll continue. But as you can see here, by the way, the word neocon is literally, it means Jewish, right? This is what Mark Levin is saying, that it is anti-Semitic to say the word neocon. Donald Trump today on stage called out all the neocons during his Saudi Arabia trip. By the way, it's been an amazing trip. This has been an amazing trip. Donald Trump, during this, holy smokes, Trump takes a blow torch to the neocons and interventionalists while speaking to the Saudis. This is a victory speech over globalism, right? And I'll play this speech so that way you guys can hear it, because according to people who and I've been saying this for some time, and I take a lot of heat for saying this. I don't know why I take heat for this. You could be pro-Israel, you could be whatever you want. One of the main reasons I am not pro-Israel is because we don't have enough conversations about the fact that Israel's lobby is just way too expanded in our government. People receive millions and millions of dollars to always put Israel before Americans' interests. And we're watching the meltdowns. We're watching people lose their minds. Before I even go back to Trump, let's just actually go back to Mark Levin, right? This is the perfect example of somebody that works for Fox News that is losing his mind because Donald Trump has decided to go and say, Bibi Netanyahu, I'm not going to talk to you right now. I'm going to negotiate with Hamas. I'm going to negotiate with the Houthis. I'm going to negotiate with Qatar myself and see exactly how we can find peace in the Middle East without using you. But people in the United States are mad because they always, and there has been an investment made over time, that the only way to negotiate in the Middle East is through Israel. People get paid for this. They get paid to have this stance. Donald Trump noticed it. Well, it all started with Mike Waltz. Mike Waltz, that text message that leaked out, and Mike Waltz is set out to be, now this is all alleged, set out to be an Israeli spy. Set out to be. This is allegedly. Not saying that this is true, but this is mostly why he was removed and pushed into another position. Because Donald Trump started to notice that every time he spoke about peace in the Middle East, it always involved somebody always going out of their way to make sure that Israel is involved. Why? Israel's not America. Israel's just another government with beautiful Jewish people. There's a difference between Jews and Israel. Just like any other nation, they have a government that has an agenda. We have a government. We have our agenda. Anyways, so here's Mark Levin losing his mind. He says U.S. relations is at a crossroads. Trump's Middle East trip leaves Jerusalem. Now he's posting nonstop about why Trump should stop talking to the guys in the Middle East. Trump, please stop talking to the Saudis. Stop talking to everybody. Why? Anyways, He says here, what the heck is going on? Can somebody clearly explain to us, we, the people, exactly what we are and not doing? And look, this is all about Israel. Look at this. All about Israel. Why Israel should not, Trump should not. And I'm sorry, but there is friction between Donald Trump and Bibi Netanyahu, because if there's anybody you cannot boss around, it is Donald J. Trump. And here he is calling for peace, calling, and Ben Shapiro is another one. Nikki Haley is another one. There's many neocons that are strictly mad about this. But here's Donald Trump's fabulous speech against the neocons and finding peace in the Middle East.
And it's crucial for the wider world to know this great transformation has not come from Western interventionists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries, pursuing your own unique visions and charting your own destinies in your own way. It's really incredible what you've done. In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves. They told you how to do it, but they had no idea how to do it themselves. Peace, prosperity, and progress ultimately came not from a radical rejection of your heritage, but rather from embracing your national traditions and embracing that same heritage that you love so dearly.
What is Trump saying here? Very clear. I know exactly what he's saying. We, Westerners, we, our governments, have interfered. I mean, just we could go to Gaddafi in Africa. We could go to what Iran was. We could go to every aspect of this. But there's people that always want to go to war over oil. And it's the neocons. The neocons of America. Apparently, it's anti-Semitic to say that, according to Mark Levin. People that want war and constantly declare other states as terrorists. Meanwhile, we're the ones invading. We're the ones doing everything that's wrong. And this is my stance when people forget that we cause so much death and destruction in the Middle East by invading Iraq, invading Afghanistan. We did all of these things. There's American soldiers that speak about their experiences, about the fact that they spent 20 years deployed and they spent 20 years of seeing their brothers die, all for nothing. We got nothing in return. And we are headed down that same path unless Donald J. Trump does this, stands up to why there's so much conflict in the Middle East. And it goes back to Gaza. It goes back to, again, many of you lose your minds. Oh, the people in Gaza are not even humans. Disgusting behavior from Christians, I see, because they go out on a limb and believe all the propaganda. Trump knows that there's people dying every day. He knows that there's terrorists, but he also knows exactly the potential of these states if we get them out of there and we invest in them and we actually find peace with them. Look at Saudi Arabia. Look at the UAE. Look at Dubai. Look at all these Muslim countries that thrive. Why on the other side of that is there so much destruction and terrorism? Trump is saying it out loud. Trump knows. Trump's been saying it for a long time. Why do we keep bombing people in the Middle East? And he's starting to notice something that we're all starting to notice. And I won't say it on here because I don't want to get banned. But there's a reason for a lot of the conflict in the Middle East. And Trump has finally awakened to it. Or he's been awakened to it. He's just been playing chess his way by going to this trip, by receiving a gift from Qatar. You guys should see how much the neocons have melted down about receiving a gift from the Qatari government. Meanwhile, okay, Let's go here. I'll show you Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley says accepting gifts from foreign nations is never good practice. It threatens intelligence and national security, especially when the nation supports a terrorist organization and allows those terrorist regimes to. You hear this? But this is the same woman that literally receives $1.5 million from the pro-Israel lobby and signed bombs that will eventually go and demolish children. Children. This is the type of stuff we cannot support in the United States of America, especially if you are a Christian. You are signing bombs that will eventually hit buildings and eventually take people's lives. You're signing that. You're also taking $1.5 million from these people, from this other government. And they use the Bible. They always use the Bible. The people always use the Bible to keep you a prisoner to death. You can never, and I would say never, accept that. We must never accept that. You will never, ever get me to agree with signing bombs and use the Bible against me. I recognize Israel. I recognize it. It is biblical. It is where Jesus walked, but it's also where humans also live. And Trump also said today in his speech, Gaza must thrive. But Hamas is keeping them down. But Gaza must thrive. There's people there, the people that live there. But yet we've been conditioned to talk about other human beings as pieces of crap. Why? Money, influence, and propaganda. And Trump has finally said, I want peace. And the only way to achieve peace is to talk to everyone, communicate with everyone without the permission of another foreign nation telling us exactly what to do. That is the truth of all of this. Marjorie Taylor Greene has also spoken about not getting dragged into more wars because of a foreign nation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's getting very real in the world of politics between Bibi Netanyahu and Trump. I'm pretty sure they'll reconcile their relationship eventually, but there was a wake-up call here that happened to the American people. I think Trump already saw this a long time ago. I've watched Trump's interviews before about the Israel-Palestine conflict. Man, some of you have been blinded by this. And it is tough to see my counterparts and people that are Christians turn into evil monsters that don't care about the death and destruction of lives. It hurts me. It hurts my soul. The fact that I see comments that it's just so crazy to me. I think it's shocking. It really is. But that is my thoughts on this. Trump got up on stage, called out the neocons. The neocons are melting down. Nikki Haley, Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro. I don't even want to play Ben Shapiro's video. Ben Shapiro. People that consider themselves America first. They're not America first. I promise you that. I don't think so. See you guys on the next one.